Okay, hello everybody, my name is Icyy. In this video today, we're going to be doing a VOD review for one of my community members. Basically, I'm just going to watch their game. I'm going to tell them what they can do better, how they can, change up the way they think. Just anything I can do to make them just overall a better player. If this is something that you'd be interested in, please consider joining the Discord. The link is in the description. Every 2 weeks, I'm going to draw a random name based off of like raffle tickets, basically. And to earn the raffle tickets, all you have to do is talk in the Discord. So, the more active you are, the more tickets you get, the more likely you are to get a free VOD review, which I'll feature here. And yeah, I mean, it's free. What is there to lose, right? And best part is, if you don't get drawn for a particular week, no worries, because you keep your tickets unless you win. So as time goes on, even if you can only talk here and there a little bit, you're getting more and more likely to get your free VOD review. So consider joining. Again, link in the description. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this community member's VOD. His name is Defferatel. He's a regular in my stream. Great guy. And today we're going to pick apart his gameplay. So without further ado, let's get to it. I already said that. All right. So, making sure I got everything going here. We're just going to skip to the beginning of the game. Okay, we have Ashe on Numbani. First thing to be aware of is snipers. If they don't have snipers, you can play more aggressive peeks. If they have dive comps, you have to be able to poke them down before they can get into a good position to dive you, and make sure that your shift is up. So, what we will see 15 seconds into the game, okay, as soon as that timer hits 3:45, right, especially if I'm in a position like this, I've only seen their tracer, right? I don't know their other DPS so far. You and I have wall hacks, but he doesn't, right? So that being said, 15 seconds into the game, when you press tab, you can see the enemy team comp. That's when all their heroes are shown to you and they're not question marks anymore. So check that. If they don't have a sniper, we can play a little bit more aggro here. We've already started off pretty well by poking, sort of just, keeping things at low health. Probably should have just stuck to the monkey there. So we're having a little bit of ineffective damage. We poked the Ana out. We're not poking tanks nearly enough right now. If we take the space away from the tanks, or take the health away from the tanks, we take their team's space away by a lot and don't get ourselves into a position like this. So how could we have approached the fight differently? Okay, well, first of all, let's back up. After we're done poking out these two cooldowns, we can be really aggressive with how we peek, right? They don't have monkey bubble, they're low on matrix. Once that's the case, we can start swinging over towards this way, like closer to where our monkey is, and we can start trying to take that space back from them. Okay, now their monkey has jumped. He doesn't have bubble. If he doesn't have bubble, shoot him every time. Just put all your damage into him, right? We saw him jump. He's now sleeping. He now has his jump back and his bubble back. We missed the headshot. He jumps further in. We switch halfway through targets onto something that's a lot harder for us to hit. Honestly, this tracer is useless. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. She is on the floor here. We're up on the high ground next to our supports. She's touching point, but so what, right? If we kill the rest of her team, she can't get anywhere from that position. The only time she becomes a problem is if she rotates up through here, all the way around here, and we'll know that ahead of time, right? Because we can see her. So it's better for us to focus the tanks. This diva is a good target to be focusing. We switch halfway through. Again, Ana, there's a bit of a poisonous like target priority thing that goes on with a lot of DPS players below a certain level, and it's that a lot of people tell you if you can manage to get a kill on supports, you should, right? And yeah, that's true. I mean, if you can get a kill on anything, you should. But nowadays, honestly, if you can find a pick on a tank or on a DPS, you slow the game down to a crawl, right? And for characters like Tracer or, Genji or whatever, it doesn't really matter, right? But for things like Ashe, for things like Soldier, for things like McCree, Hanzo, so on, right? The characters that I play or that Defferatel is playing here, it's in our best interest to slow the game down a lot, right? So if we can manage to find a pick on a on a tank, or at least put them down to half health, we're going to get more value overall than if we kill a dive or a support here, right? Because if we kill this Ana, their diva still has half her HP, their monkey is still alive, they have a mercy, they can potentially res the Ana, and they have 2 dive DPSs, right? So they're still very much in the fight, even if their Ana dies. Now, if this was like a Rhine sort of setup, it'd be a lot more difficult for them. But they're not. They're on dive. Their power comes from all collapsing at the same time and comboing abilities to do lots of burst damage, right? So it's way more important when you're fighting against dive to be paying attention to putting people down to low HP. Because if you put people down to low HP, you weaken the dive, right? If I'm diva, I don't want to dive with half HP and no defense matrix. If I'm monkey, I don't want to dive with no bubble. If I'm Genji, I don't want to dive in when I'm 20 HP and have no reflex, right? So to weaken the dive, to soften the dive, poke out the tanks, keep them low HP, don't let them ever take your position without taking a bunch of damage, and yeah, just don't get distracted by things like this, because honestly, yes, the Ana's in the open, but I'm more worried about the stuff that's taking all this space over to my right. See how their tanks are just sort of on my Sigma, right? It's kind of on my Ana to be healing him, and he's not. But the Winston and the Diva are just over here way separated from their team, right? Just shoot them, honestly. Get them to back up, and then slowly force your way forward when they don't have any cooldowns. But see, now, what's happening here, right, is because of the way their tanks are playing, right, their DPSs have a lot of space to work with, right? See how now that the fight has developed more, right, you now have to worry about people who are suffocating your position on the right. They're taking the opposite high ground and controlling the flank that leads to you, right? And their DPSs are working, well, their Mercy Pocket is working in this way. Their Tracer should be somewhere, yeah, she's over here flanking, right? So they're starting to wrap the position around you. And because we haven't properly pressured out their tanks and things, now we're starting to fall behind, right? Because we can't control everything, and that leaves a lot of room for their DPSs to do everything. If we go and take a top-down position here, right, we'll see the Sigma is pretty called out here. Your Genji ends up dying, that's just kind of his fault. The Sigma ends up dying, your monkey is now being pressured, he has no safe places to go, right? He dies as a result, and now you're basically just caught in the hallways, not able to do anything. So, moral of the story is, against dive, your primary focus needs to be always keeping their tanks weak. If you can't do that, just play in positions that forces them to trade a bunch of cooldowns before they do their dive. Weaken the dive as much as possible by playing intelligently and poking out them ahead of time. Like, a pick on the Ana is not always going to be your answer to beating a dive. Teams can lose their Ana with a setup like this and still get like a clean team kill on the other side. Okay, so we're almost at Bob here. This is good. There's a few things to keep in mind when you use Bob into this comp. They do have an Ana, so you have to watch out for the sleep dart. But... oh, yeah, we're probably dead here. Oh, maybe not. Soon, perhaps. Nice, we managed to get a late pick. It's probably not going to matter because it's Tracer, but whatever. You probably weren't going to get out of that anyway, even if you had walked all the way out. That monkey could have just chased you. So anyway, as I was saying, things to keep in mind. We have Bob, right? They have a sleep dart. If you can't get your team to bait out the sleep dart, or she's just not using it, put Bob in a spot that makes her have to walk out to sleep him, right? So for example, let's talk about that just for a second here, okay? For example, if we have a Bob chilling here, right? It may seem like he's not doing much, but he's creating a little bit of space. People, if they try to dive you now, right? They're going to have to get shot in the back by Bob, right? If you throw him to this wall here, which you absolutely can do, okay? By doing that, it lets you swing wide and start taking space for yourself, okay? If the Ana wants to sleep this Bob, she has to either rotate through here, go over here, and go for the sleep this way, which is a waste of her time, or she has to walk all the way out into your sight line like this and sleep him, okay? Which you can then use to get a free kill on her, okay? So... with Bob, you want to be thinking ahead of time about how you're going to use him to get yourself some value. Not saying that would have turned the fight here, because they kind of just have Nano Blade, and Nano Blade's kind of just the win button. But, well, you traded 2 with Blade. Yeah. I don't know. That could have been a winnable fight. I don't blame you for that, Bob. But if you had maybe bobbed a better spot, the Bob maybe could have helped you with the Genji. Okay, so we switched to McCree here. This could be a good pick. It's hard to say. You'll have to pay attention to your Briggs location here so you don't get dove. So let's see what happens. All right. See, we're putting a lot of pressure on Tracer, which is only good in situations where she's like already kind of setting up. So just be aware of how much you're putting on their Tracer and not under their front line. We're missing some shots. It's okay. Your aim is not very steady. You're like showing some lack of mouse control. Every one of your shots, you're like kind of moving your mouse like this when you shoot, right? Try to focus on just calming your hand, because a lot of these shots are literally just like you missing just because you're doing that little motion. It adds just a tiny bit of randomness that you don't want in your aim, right? Like, look. See how like you're on her and then you flick over here, right? You see that little bullet hole? You flick over here, and then you're on her and you flick over here, right? That's a free pick if you just learn to be like, okay, arm, stay still, right? So just try to build that into your mind. Keep your aim as like non-flicky as possible. See, like when you're kind of just tracking her like that, you're hitting more shots. So try to sort of keep that going. It's not a bad flash. Hit the Genji. Very nice. That's bad for that diva. Nice. Okay. Not bad. Not bad. Looking good so far. Okay, so we're sort of just setting up here. You know they're taking high ground. This is a fine position so far. You see their Tracer down main. You just want to be aware of like... You want to be paying close attention to the wall as to where your teammates are. You don't need to push all the way up here. It's not good for you to push up here, because if their Diva and Monkey just realize you're in here and dive you, you're dead. There's nothing that their team can do. There's nothing your team can do to save you, right? Diva's going to Matrix you so you can't flash. The damage is going to be too much for anyone to heal. Can't get heals from your Ana because you're going to have Matrix on you. It's going to be bad, right? And Genji's going to dash you to add more burst damage. Don't be afraid to be kind of patient, waiting for your team to sort of play their positions like this. Like I said, this isn't a great position for you, but you don't need to force it just because your team is up here. So you'd be much better off if you were just like sort of towards your spawn right now. Things would be not so confusing and clustered and chaotic, you know? See, I wish you had just been in the position you died at the whole time, essentially. It's okay to have a little bit of time wasted, you know? Especially when your team's just kind of poking. You want to say to them, call to them, be like, hey, I can't help you guys up there or whatever, right? They'll either back up and play in a position that's better for you, or they're going to just like, you know, eventually they'll back up either way, or they'll die. Most people aren't just going to straight up die unless they make really poor decisions, but that happens sometimes. Okay, she used all of her Matrix. I would chase that a little bit. Yeah, this is good by you. Nice. Focusing Diva is a massive, massive thing to be doing. Heard the recall. Keep track of Tracer's blinks, so you know she has like no blinks now. Yeah, see, there you go. That's exactly how you wanted to play that. Every time you hear a blink, just like kind of count it in your head and guess like, okay, she has no blinks, or she might have one, you know? That'll help you fight Tracers a lot better, is keeping track of their cooldowns. Okay. We're poking here. See, I like this position. This is a good position for you. Just pop that shield and keep their tanks low. Oh, your Ryan kind of ruined you there. Yeah, we weren't anticipating the Diva bomb, but that's okay. That was kind of just an overall team issue there. Yeah, you just got caught out by Diva bomb. Your Ryan could have saved you there for sure. I mean, to be honest, I wasn't even thinking about the Diva Bomb and I wasn't even playing. Now, that's obviously bad. Numbani Last is notoriously good for Diva Bombs, whether it's in the tunnel, on the last point, whatever. So, keep track of abilities like that and things like Nano Blade. Try to plan a little bit for ultimates. You know. Yeah. But overall, not a bad round. I wish you had put more pressure on the front line like we've been saying. So let's keep watching and see what else we can pick apart here. There haven't been too many glaring issues with positioning. You need to fan the hammer here. When you're just breaking shields, you just want to fan the hammer. Okay, and we're rotating. This is good. You're never going to be able to push that into double shield. You need to set up a dive from main. On your end, you probably need to try to swing as wide as you can. You're kind of going for it here. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Good. Good, good, good. This is basically where you need to be playing right here. Keep track of the Genji, though. You fought him in a really bad spot. Okay, so when a Genji is pushing you, right? The last thing you want are a lot of corners and vertical spots that he can fight you from. As soon as I saw that Genji like putting focus on me, I would have backed all the way up to here, where I can like keep him in the open and I can have him on my screen, right? I can play back here. More accurately, I'll be standing kind of like this, right? Shooting, and I can just take a look every few seconds, and as soon as I see him, I can sort of fight him that way. I can either roll back this way to fight him. I have room to kind of maneuver, right? And I'm not in such a tight clustered position. You keep putting yourself in really tight clustered positions that are extremely hard to fight from, and it's making you look a lot worse than you really are, I think. If you don't set yourself up to get more easy shots, you're gonna have to just turn yourself into like a ridiculous aimer, and that takes years and years of practice, right? So instead of going that route, you know, just play in easier to hit, play in positions that make your shots easier to hit, you know? Should have been fanning him way earlier than that. That's okay. You also didn't keep track of your ammo count. I mean, you only had one bullet at that point. If you had shot him with a headshot, you would have killed him, but you waited till he was all the way down to 1 HP to fan the hammer instead of... You should have done that in reverse, basically. But I see what you're doing there, trying to catch them off guard by doing like a small flank like that. Okay, so they're going to be coming up on Blade. I mean, they have a lot of ults here. You have Nano Blade, though. Your main goal here is to just avoid dying to all this stuff. You weren't ready for that. Yeah, so you knew that going in... Oh, wow. Your supports didn't kill that guy. So going into a fight like that, where there's a lot of ults, you have to play for your life. You don't need to swing out that early if it means you can avoid taking a ton of damage, right? If you just like played it cool, let your tanks eat up the ultimates, let your team eat up the ultimates, and then pushed afterwards, you probably would have been a lot better off. Yep, nice. Again, we're playing a good position here. I wouldn't have done this yet because that Genji. Ooh, but sure, I guess. I mean, hey, you gotta pick on him because he played that pretty stupidly. So that was good. I think the better play, technically, is to make sure he's very low HP before you do that. Sort of poke him out a little bit, see if you can get his reflect out, and then go for it. Try to prevent him from just like pushing you, or like the better play for that Genji would have been, wow, 1 HP. The better play for that Genji would have been to poke you from the high ground and then reflex in like towards the end of your high noon, and then just kind of walk at you with a right click, or you know, just like try to bait the flashbang out any way you can without needing to close distance immediately. Okay, we're in an okay position. You need to watch for the Orisa pull. She's going for it. You should have seen that coming, but you're okay. You're playing in a great position still. Nice. They missed the dragon on you. This is good. Nice. Our aim is looking a lot better. It looks like we've kind of warmed up a bit on the Kree. At first we were having issues hitting shots. Now it looks like we're actually managing to do some good damage. Ooh. Need to be super aware of the Hanzo here. Yeah, that's okay. Your team kind of just like peeked out into him and died there. That's not entirely your fault. I mean, that's not really a fight you want to take with a Hanzo. Your team just needed to hide and push cart there. But it's okay. We have another high noon coming up on Nano Blade. It's important to keep track of your team's ultimates as well, so you know kind of like how to pace the fight. So like what you did this fight, you may have committed out a little bit too far, but you know, you were anticipating the ultimates to come through, and they did, and you like kited effectively for it. So okay, it's still very winnable here. You have a minute to push the cart through the remainder of second, and then you get another minute and a half. They're probably gonna end up with more time than you, but it's absolutely not lost yet. So yeah, you're kind of panicking here. When you are losing track of a enemy like this, the only thing you can do is put some space between you and the enemy. Nice. Wow, he completely fucked that 1v1 up. So okay, let's go back and look at how we ended up fighting this Genji. Okay, so point of interest 1, right? There's not a way for you to avoid him having a good angle on you here, right? You're walking out of spawn. Okay, you could go out far left. There's not really a need to. Okay, so he dashes. You've lost track of him, right? You know where he's not right now. Okay, roll that way and turn around. You know he's not over here. Just roll that way and turn around. Okay, instead what you end up doing is you roll the way you don't know he is, right? Kind of backwards, right? And now you have to clear above you as well. Okay, so you basically lost track of him here. Now he's dashing through you. You finally have caught track of him, but you just kind of panicked and used your flash because you were so lost and like confused as to where he was. Now he completely messed up by missing the dash and not landing a single shuriken. But whenever you are looking for a Genji above your head or whatever, pick a direction, find him. If you don't, roll towards it 180. Okay, you're good. You'll find him every time. You'll see me do that trick a lot if you see me play against Genjis. Your role is a great little space creator between you and people who can like kind of dance around you like that, whether it's Tracer or Genji or whatever. And that's exactly what you need. You need just a tiny bit of space so you can keep your aim together, like we talked about before. See, I really want to see you fan the hammer more. This is not a good high noon. Oh, but you got a pick here. That was a dangerous high noon to go for. And yeah, you swung back out into the BAP window, so just not really playing very, very carefully there. The high noon wasn't that well timed, you know. So nice, we have our target. Should have rolled away from him, but that's okay. We're not using our roll to effectively fight this Genji, and it's really hindering you. So way to practice that is to just honestly hit deathmatch or hit try hard free for all or aim arena. There's, you know, dozens of people that play Genji there that are just practicing him, and you can just play McCree against them and learn how to roll against the Genji better. Good target selection. Can't get the pick though because they're just shielding. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. But I think that overall your positioning could use a decent amount of work. You're letting things get really close to you and cramp up your aiming and not letting you just kind of play your game comfortably. You're really getting uncomfortable because of how you're positioning. So try to avoid cramped spaces on things like McCree. Now, if you're Reaper, on the other hand, it's a whole different story, right? Then you are in the driving seat. Things don't want to get cramped with you or Genji, right? But on McCree, you got to be more careful than that. Yeah, well, anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope this I hope some people enjoyed this, especially the one who sent the VOD in. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And yeah, to everyone else, if you're interested in having me review your gameplay and give you some advice, please join the Discord, send some messages, show me your cat, tell me what you ate, have a, you know, good morning, whatever. And just, yeah, come be a part of the family. All right. Anyway, that's all for me, guys. See you guys in a bit. Take care and peace.